Harris and Greg Lehman, also Ann Dimmick, all are the people down at Watershed that have been so generous to us and have become our sponsors. A watershed moment might be pivotal, but it might also be quiet and fleeting. It could be a moment, occasion, a cause for celebration, an enormous triumph, or a small daily victory. A watershed moment could be a rekindling or an observance or gathering. Any opportunity to relish with friends and family. It's whatever you choose to cheers to, who you're gathered around, and whatever's worth celebrating. We founded Watershed Distillery on the principles of community in 2010. We wanted to live in, work in, and contribute to the community in which we grew up. We aimed to create spirits that stood apart in quality and character. Along the way, we set out to form a community of our own, one that could gather together to savor, celebrate, and enjoy good spirits and company. We've grown from a tiny little still and two guys in jumpsuits to a dedicated team of over 40 people and two much larger stills. If you're ever in the area, stop by so we can introduce you to our team and pour you some of our award-winning bourbon. Creating it was our watershed moment, but we want to hear about yours. That's a little loud. All right, there we go. So where are we being recorded now? Welcome to the YouTube part of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Tonight, both Xavier and I are back together. Welcome back, Xavier. It's been a little bit of time since you've
Thank you, Tiny. Welcome, everyone.
Oh, you don't have to talk into your microphone will pick you up. So be more concerned about being on the camera than there you go. Yeah, the microphone's going to pick up. I have you actually that microphone turned up so that my microphone and yours will be the same level, but you can be further apart.
Okay, so I can be right here and speak.
Right
okay.
There.
Hey,
yep, no problem.
Almost like being there.
Yep. Well, you are here.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Give you. Ooh. So we are going to be tasting Rowans Creek tonight and Noahs Mill. And pretty much we are going to be going over a little bit of history. Got a little bit of history, a little bit of what has gone on with Willett through the years. That they've been independent bottlers. A lot of their stuff was made at Heaven Hill. We're just going to go over everything. And once again, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, fully sponsored Watershed Distillery, Spirit of French Lick, and Log Still Distillery. Talk a little bit about that. So in a second, it's, well, just, for a little bit of extra content on YouTube, you find it's been a rough last couple months, right?
It has been tough.
Yeah. A lot of different, even with, what health wise, but you seem to be getting a little bit better, a little bit by little.
I would say I'm trending upward.
Yeah. Well, we gotta have you at your peak by the September 10th.
Oh yes. Well,
get you guys there.
We'll make it.
When we're in Kentucky. I found out today from Randy Prossi that we have a booth for the Bourbon Festival, podcasting booth the whole time. So I'm excited about that. The Scotchy Bourbon Boys are going to be at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. And then the other aspect, the whole thing, your mother had a little bit of a scare there for a little bit, but she seems to have recovered pretty good, right?
My mother, who is 92, actually closer to 93, had a thankfully mild stroke. For a short period of less than a day, she had some paralysis of her left arm and hand, but she is fully recovered, and she's even cleared for driving, and she's doing her housework, and her house is so dirty all the time. Of course, she's very old school, so she's constantly cleaning and straightening, and she's doing extremely well. So thank God that worked out.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Well.
We thought it might be serious, because anytime someone's at 92, we all know that you can go fast, but nope, it wasn't.
Yeah.
She pulled right out of it.
She's an iron horse.
Yes, and she's a true.
Or as we like to call her, Iron Doris. Her first name is Doris.
There you go. There you go. All right, so I think we're pretty much going to get ready to start the podcast. Let me get I've got all the stuff up. I've got this up. Everything's working. And we will do the 30 seconds. We got to be quiet, but I'll have that stripped in when it goes to YouTube. Once again, it's great to have you here, Xavier, back podcasting. It's going to be, I think this one's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one, and it's great to be here, Tiny.
All right, here we go.
Spirits of French Lick is proud to introduce the Matty Gladden Bottled and Bond Bourbon. This 4-year aged bourbon is double pot distilled and non-chill filtered and has a full-bodied mouthfeel with eucalyptus, molasses, clove, ginger, and slight citrus as well as grains of paradise. The finish is long and reappearing on the back of the tongue with notes of pepper, tobacco leaf, and mint green. All of our spirits are available for tasting and purchase inside the French Lick Winery and Distillery. Spirits of French Lick, respect the grain, please enjoy responsibly, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Well, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, tell you we must die. Tell you we must die. Tell ya, I tell ya, I tell ya we must die.
Welcome back to another podcast of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. The opening with Mr. Morrison, that was live at the Hollywood Bowl in 1968.
My goodness, 53 years ago.
Yeah, and he was just a spectacular performer, and he sets the tone so well for each Scotchy Bourbon Boy podcast. I mean, wherever we are, we're at a whiskey bar because we're tasting whiskeys. But also, like Alan Bishop said, there's never been a time that in the last podcast where he's heard that song that it didn't go normal. It always went off. It goes off the rails, and it's kind of like the same thing. It just gets you ready to start drinking fucking whiskey. You know, it's like party.
Yeah.
And he was the ultimate partier. I mean, there's no doubt.
That can't be overstated, I don't think.
I mean, when we were talking, Alan made mention. It's like he formed a character that always had to be upped. He was always looking for a way to get one, to come up with something, one more bigger, drunker, more, what would you say? What were they calling it?
More outrageous or
indecent.
There was some of that apparently.
Yeah, he was always trying to take it one, and that was one way,
And to make you feel old, I remember when he died, and July 3rd of this year made 50 years that Mr. Morrison died.
And Alan was saying, he actually has a rock off of his gravestone, that he brought back from France, and he has it on a shrine in his house. But he was saying if there was anybody who really faked their death, Morrison was the one who probably did, because he said he might have died in the last 5 or 6 years, but, and he might be dead, or he might be really old and alive. But, there was one thing that everybody knew about Jim Morrison is the reason why he was so fucked up was because he didn't want to be known for what he was being known for. He wanted to be known for being a poet, an artist, and he was being known for being a pop singer. And that really, really bothered him. And We all know that. And so if there was anybody who was going to try and get out of it, it would have been him.
He might have popped the chute, huh?
Oh, he could have. He could have, definitely. There's no doubt. And he wasn't, what would you say? Yes, he was a notable, but he wasn't Elvis. He was the Doors. They were big, but at the same time, he might have just been done with it, wanted to go away, and just basically, we were discussing it. He went to France. And he was over there, no parents, no nothing. His girlfriend finally came over. There was only 3 people who ever saw the body. The person, the woman he was with, and then the coroner and whatever. And out of all those people, it's just, once again, I just feel, there's an aspect of that he might have just wanted to fade into, not being here, and went someplace and lived his life, not as a rock star. It's a possibility,
Could
right?
be possible, sure.
Yeah, but he would have had the motivation.
And he certainly would have had the funds to pull it off.
I think. Yes, between in about 19, when Elvis started it, that's when, that's what started people getting the funds, rock and roll with him and that birth. That was, and what the Beatles did and what the Doors did, they were definitely, the money was rolling in.
Yeah, and we have to give a quick mention and a rest in peace. We lost a giant. We've lost 2 giants in the music industry, 3 actually in the last month, starting with Dusty Hill, bass player for ZZ Top, and Don Everly this weekend, and then today, the drummer of drummers, Charlie Watts, Rolling Stones, passed away.
So Don Everly of the Everly Brothers?
That's correct.
So that's
Phil had passed away back, I think, in 2014, and Don died on Saturday or Sunday.
Well, when you think about it, the Everly Brothers, and when they were performing in the
late 50s,
early 60s, and that he lived, and then you're talking about the guitarist for ZZ Top when they were making their mark. It just shows what you lay down as a life. There's sometimes a lot of different time periods for people.
The thing is, when you try to fathom the number of artists that were influenced by the Everly Brothers and by Charlie Watts, it's just, it's unfathomable. It's incredible. So rest in peace. You'll be missed.
Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt. That brings us to tonight's topic. We are tasting for the first time Willett product. And maybe not. I might have done a podcast where I was tasting the Willett pot still bourbon a little bit while back, but though we have one of the Willett Distillery, or I believe it's the Bardstown Distilling Company. Their main product is the Rowans Creek and the Noahs Mill, and it's been around for a long time. And it's been around when they weren't distilling it. They are, right now, I believe they're distilling it at this moment at Willett. And
I believe they started their new distillery in 2012, I think.
Right. Now, they don't, the Rowans Creek, the Noahs Mill is higher proof. We'll taste that second. And it was, at one point, a 15-year bourbon. Age for 15 years. It has no age statement, so there's a lot of different bourbons in there. And Willett is one of those. The mash bill is a mixture of different bourbons, so you don't really get the transparency of some distilleries. Is not Willett. They're not transparent of what's in the bottle, so you have to go by when you're buying it what you're tasting, and then. It definitely was distilled in Kentucky, and for a long time, Heaven Hill distilled for Willett. They were an independent bottler for a long time, so they were taking bourbons bourbon from different places or whiskey from different places, and they then would mix it and bottle it. That's what an independent bottler does. That is very common in Scotch. You know, there's a lot of independent bottlers in Scotch. And but once again, as an independent bottler, they weren't really, they weren't being transparent on where they were getting everything from. So, and then I believe, like you said, in 2012,
I have here, yes.
they started distilling their own distillate. And I believe actually, Michael Veach wrote an article on how Pappy Van Winkle and right now the family that's the names of what would you say, eluding me. They basically took they started out the same way, but Pappy Van Winkle still is having Sazerac and Buffalo Trace distill for them, and then they pick the barrels and bottle it as Pappy Van Winkle, where Willett started in the same place where they were doing the similar thing, but Willett has decided to start distilling their own distillate. So they started it, and I would say both have had some really good success. What's been going on. All right, so that's what we're going to be tasting tonight, barrel bashing. Me and Xavier are back together again for this one, and it's Rowans Creek and Noahs Mill. What I'd like to do is, at this point, cover our our sponsors. Let's see. It's like, what did I do? Oh, you got it. Thank you.
Actually, those are mine, but you're welcome to them.
Okay. I don't know. Somewhere I put those. All right. The Spirit of French Lick, the largest pot still distillery in Indiana, is leading the way, representing both quality of Hoosier artesian distilling process while paying tribute to its inseparable past and the many pre-Prohibition era distilleries that once dotted the hills of southern Indiana. By implementing best practices from those early times with improved modern methods, Spirit of French Lick has created a unique place in history, not only in terms of its story, but also in methodology, double pot, still distillation, retention, and concentration of flavor and aroma. Established in 2016 as an outgrowth of the French Lick Winery, Spirit of French Lick focuses on 4 pillars of distillation: bourbon, brandy, botanical spirits, and American whiskey. Remember, their motto is respect the grain. So Alan Bishop is the head distiller there at the Spirit of French Lick, a Scotchy Bourbon boy and a really good friend of the podcast. We've had him on numerous times and really enjoy having him on. The last podcast he was on, and he was basically unplugged. It was a pretty good podcast, and if you are interested in the details of distilling and the distilling industry, that podcast's for you. So check that out. So that brings us to, we are the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. You can find us on the web at www.scotchybourbonboys.com. When you go to the website, it gives you all the information. It gives you bios on us. And then also, after a little bit, we're back. We're back. I'm making sure we're recording. Yes, we are. Every once in a while, we'll have a little technical difficulties based off of I take care of my granddaughter, and she woke up with a nightmare. So that'll happen from time to time, but she's back to sleep, and we are going again. But remember, once again, www.scotchybourbonboys.com. Go to the website, check us out. We got the bios. I know that I just said that. But then also we do a whiskey live. Lately, we haven't been doing it because we've been down in Kentucky, or I've been on a road trip, or I've been in Wisconsin. And then also I was getting screwed over by Facebook, like majorly. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but whatever they were doing, they were stopping me from broadcasting live. I started broadcasting last Saturday night, and within 3 minutes, they had me kicked off again for another week. But I can go live again. So although we can't do it this Friday because we're going to be down again in Kentucky, one of the things I wanted to say, we're going to be podcasting 2 o'clock with Harlan Wheatley down at Buffalo Trace. So that's going to be the next podcast, which is damn fucking exciting. I can't wait to get down there. Plus, I was talking to Greg Schneider tonight, and he has given me some ammo because when he was working at the Independent Stave Company there for a while, he worked directly with Harlan Wheatley, and he had some really good stories of what happened with him and Elmer T. Lee. I mean, Greg Schneider, good friend of the program, master distiller of Chicken Cock. He's going to be down at Kentucky Bourbon Festival too.
Nice.
And that's another thing. But anyways, while you're checking out the website, make sure when you're there in the top right hand corner to click that Patreon button and support us through Patreon. You can get through Patreon and the monthly subscription, you can get one of these Scotchy Bourbon Boy glasses. Made possible by Martin Duffy, who we also are going to see down at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, and
Great.
hopefully do a podcast with Martin Duffy.
That'd be cool.
He is the North American Glencairn glass representative, and he is the guy who allows us to get our awesome Scotchy Bourbon Boy logo onto these Glencairns. But you can support us through Patreon and end up with one of those in your possession. Also, there we have T-shirts and there are special tasting mats, and everything like that. So just check out that Patreon and click on that Patreon and give us some support. Just remember, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys are everywhere. We are on Twitter at Scotchy We are on Instagram, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We are on Facebook, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. All major podcast formats. Check us out. We're everywhere. So with that said, and then also check out our group on Facebook. The Facebook group is pretty fun. I've been getting a lot of people from the Ohio area because the next meeting is going to be sometime in October. And when we set that meeting, I think it's going to be a big one because there's a lot of people who have started to get involved. I've been shipping out some T-shirts. I've been shipping out some Glencairns. It's just a wonderful thing what's been happening and how big the Scotchy Bourbon Boys is getting. But we're also, when we get down to Kentucky Bourbon Festival, hopefully we'll be able to have a Scotchy Bourbon Boy meeting right down there because there's a shit ton of Scotchy Bourbon Boys coming down to the festival. So I can't wait. I mean,
It's going to be a great time.
yeah, Lou Bryson's going to be there. He's part of the group. I mean, there's just so many people that are going to be down there. So that's where we're at with that. But this is the part where we mention the newest members of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Let's see if I can do this. I know I can do this. All right, there's the website. I just have to go to Facebook. All right. So the Scotchy Bourbon Boys group is getting close to 600. The get to 600 is a record pace of the last 100. We were just at the 500 mark where we gave away special 500 Elijah Craig bottle, but we are already to 600, so we are going to have to plan 1,000 member bottles soon.
Pretty soon.
It's just
the
went
rate
quick.
we're going because it's an accelerated curve.
So we have a bunch of new members, and I want to welcome you all. Leland Sussel, Christina Joy Pross, which is Aaron Pross's wife from Cast Chasers, and his better half has joined us. Brandon Gold, William Anthony Abshire, Scott Sauer. Scott Sauer is an actual person in Worcester who has a really cool bar that I'm going to be visiting soon. Steve Holland, Mark Lewis, Max Eckwire, Renita Rivas, Tim Joyce, Melissa Hilton, Dawson Norman, Richard Werner, Denise Mayhair, which is Matt Mayhair's wife, who has just joined the Scotchy Bourbon Boys as our newest podcaster. We are excited. We are super excited to welcome Matt as one of our podcasters. Getting another partner after Young Nose went to South Carolina. He will join us on Saturday mornings, from time to time. We will record a podcast with him. But Matt is here in Ohio and will come and podcast with me just the same as Xavier here. So we've got
awesome.
We just keep growing and getting this team together. And then the last is Larry Rice. So thank you all for joining the Scotchy Bourbon Boys.
Thank you,
wonderful
everyone.
to have you here. And at this point now, it's time where we get to the point where we're going to open these two, but also we will take a moment to honor our next sponsor. Let's see what we got here. The Log Still Distillery traces its roots back to Joseph Washington Dance, hollowing out a popular log to distill his first batch of Kentucky bourbon in 1836. And now, a new generation of distillers is continuing in his footsteps, with Joseph Washington's great-great-grandson, Wally Dant, along with cousins Lynn Dant and Charles Dant as co-distillers. The campus is opening in phases throughout 2021 in Gethsemane, Kentucky, in southern Nelson County, and will employ 126 people once fully operational. Approximately an hour's drive from both Louisville and Lexington, Dant Crossing is a picturesque 300-plus acre campus with a slew of amenities and activities for the whole family. It will be a one-of-a-kind destination for unforgettable weddings, memorable corporate events, day trips, and weekend getaways, and will be anchored by the Log Still Distillery. The amenities at the campus will include a network of wooded walking trails, a fully functional private train depot connected to the Kentucky Railroad Museum, an outdoor amphitheater, which is open now, farm-to-table restaurant, 12-acre lake for fishing, and 4 unique lodging options, including the recently opened B&B, the Homestead, and Popular Cottage. These features, along with those of Log Still Distillery, will create an immersive experience that is rooted in the community and culture in and around Gethsemane, Kentucky. So Wally and Lynn and Charlie have done an exceptional thing. I believe last weekend Cheap Trick played their amphitheater.
Neat.
So that's really kind of cool. And then, Wally posted a great, where did everything go? That was not
That was
supposed
cool,
to happen. Let's see what happens. Oh, there we go. It's all back. Voila! Voila!
Yeah.
So they've created something. I've been down there. I'm going down there this weekend. I've got a 2:00 meeting with a couple people down there, and it's going to be a really good time. There's no doubt about it. But what they're doing there is crazy. They've got the small still working in the bar area where everybody goes for tastings and everything. Really cool. But they are working on the main distillery. That's going to be opening up soon. The amphitheater's opened up for the summer. It's been pretty spectacular. And then also coming full circle, they're just going to be hosting. They've got some unbelievable event center that they're setting up for corporate events. They are going to put Gethsemane on the map. It's like I work hard to say that word. Gethsemane.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's like I must have said it 4,000 times, and it's still rough. And you put some more whiskey in me, and it's going to even get
It'll either smooth out.
So that's why I read that sponsorship second. All right. So Are you excited here?
I'm excited.
I mean, we've been.
I'm excited to be here. This is not often do I get to do it for various reasons, be they professional or medical.
Right. So we've been the Rowans Creek and Noahs Mill. We're not. What would you say? This isn't the first time we're tasting them, although it is the first time we're tasting them out of our own bottle. But we had where we go and hang out every Sunday night. Correct. We basically have been tasting these 2 bottles for probably the last month and a half, right?
Yeah, I would say about that.
Now, the neck pour on Noah's Mill at Gervasi, which is the distillery close to us. We go and visit the still house. Shay Pridemore is the master distiller there. We're looking forward to having him coming back onto the podcast soon. They've been working hard, and they've been doing a lot of stuff, laying down a lot of what would you say, distillate. There's a lot of stuff aging in there. The barrels keep, they keep building up. Every time we're there, I kind of notice. I pay attention, and then also what Bill Hockett had done before Shay was there. I was drinking this weekend that 8-year. I popped that open. I have another bottle after this, but it was a spectacular bourbon, and what they were putting out was delicious. So I'm looking forward to what they're going to do in the future. I think that the whole world situation has stalled them a little bit, but at the same time, I think they're going to be getting ready this fall to be introducing some stuff. So I'm excited about
Good
that.
deal. Looking forward.
But we've been drinking this and I've been pretty happy with it. So we're going to start with the Rowans Creek. Now, you've got yours, and I don't know where the hell mine went, but I'll just try. Oh, I had it on my thing. Is that what fell down when I was falling? It sounded loud. All right. Nope, it's not there. But I think. All right. Yeah, that's not happening. Let's just see if I can look harder. I had to put it somewhere, right? I did not leave here between when my glass is. Oh, that really sucks. Hold on. All right. There we go. We're back. There we go. Yeah. All right. Once again, I'm always doing technical difficulty shit. I gotta just get up and see what the heck happened to my glasses.
Oh, here.
Well, you have yours. You have to read. You're reading too.
Okay.
I am going to find them. There they are. Right under the gosh.
Good thing that they were there and not where you're.
Yeah, because that's how this podcast is. It's raw and what would you say? Raw all the way. I'm not gonna now I gotta let's take a look at let's just see if I can get these on straight. There we go.
Good luck with that camera angle.
Exactly.
My head is not straight. My glasses aren't straight, but you know what? I don't care now.
I got them. Yeah, fuck it. I gotta get you. All right. So let's all right, now I can read the bottle. Rowans Creek takes its namesake from the creek that still runs through our little distillery. Back in the late 1700s, when John Rowan first settled about these parts, whiskey making was the order of the day. John went on and made a name for himself as a well-respected judge and statesman. The judge is long since gone, but the creek that still bears his name is still carrying the best limestone spring water that ever was for making good bourbon. So you know the whiskey making is still going on. Try a sip of it straight up in a sniffer or add a dab of branch water. If you like, either way, it's the very best there is. So that gives you a little, John Rowan came here from Pennsylvania and made a name for himself and became a judge. They named the creek after him, and that runs right behind the Willett Distillery to this day where they're getting their water from.
Nice.
So let's pop this sucker. Here, you do that. I'll start working on the other one. Yeah, what the hell?
Sure you will.
Yeah. Was there a place to grab it?
Yeah, there was. Here, I'll trade off with you.
So then you do that one because you know that what you're looking for.
Last a job I can handle.
All right, here we go. Here is the opening. Oh, there wasn't much of one. All right.
There, that one's ready to go.
So the Rowans Creek is 100 proof bourbon. And
Just a small smidge. Just tiny.
Yeah. Are you referring to me, Tiny?
Well, yes and yes.
Right. So we've got the Rowans Creek in there. There's a couple. You have a little bit on the distillery, right, in your brain, as far as where they all came from. It was like the 1700s, right?
Basically, they started out as pewterers in England, and in London, in the Hall of Pewter, they have their pewter's mark. And they came over in, I believe, 1692, and they were in the Prince George County area around Washington, D.C. Of course, D.C. wasn't there at that point in time. It was soon to be there. And then later on, they moved to Nelson County, Kentucky. And the rest is history.
Yeah, that's Nelson County right there, Bardstown. It's right there. All right, so we poured this. We've finally gotten to drinking whiskey. It's been a while. It's like, it took us a while to get here, right? To this point. All right, what are you on the nose? I get a lot of vanilla.
Definite vanilla.
I'm getting a little bit of ash. A little bit of fruit. Maybe.
Yeah, there's some citrus there, perhaps.
Maybe some peaches. I don't know. It's like, that's a rough one. I picked it up just a little bit, but that's probably because, let's see. All right, we're here.
I got it here. Let's see if we have some tasting notes here. Here we go. This is the Rowans Creek tasting notes. Bringing your nose to the glass, and your olfactory is treated to caramel and vanilla layered on herbal and floral notes. The mouthfeel starts oily but finishes dry. On the palate, you're treated to sweet caramel, vanilla, dusted in floral notes, with finishings of oak and a lingering spiciness. Those tasting notes were courtesy of Bill Thomas, Jack Rose Dining Saloon.
So from Flavor, the website, which is flavor.com, they have the appearance is golden amber, which I would agree with. It's got a little bit of yellow, but it's gold. It's amber. They say peaches, fresh cut wood, and vanilla on the nose. But tell me you can't smell Del Monte canned peaches. It's not fresh peaches, it's canned peaches.
Now, I don't know if that's the power of suggestion there, but the fresh cut wood, like a cedar or some other aromatic wood, I'm getting that.
And I get the peaches. I really get the peaches. I do. I like Del Monte canned peaches. All right, let's do a taste of this because this is pretty good. Wow, that's interesting. I'm still getting some peach
I have
and some wood.
I definitely have the taste of wood, and but I'm losing the citrus altogether. Still some vanilla. There's definitely, I'm picking up more of, along with the wood you said on the nose, ash. I didn't really detect that, but I'm getting some sort of
All right, so
like a burnt taste.
all right, here's what they've got for the flavor at Flavor. Maple, I don't really get maple, that's for sure, but butter toffee, roasted grains. So the roasted grains could be what you're tasting.
That's probably it.
Then pecan with a dash of clove and mint. This is much different. It's way oakier than the bottle that we were drinking at Gervasi.
Definitely, there's some wood there.
The wood is stronger. Now, that could be 100% because we just opened this. So what I'm going to suggest is let's put this down right now before we bear. Let's put it down.
Give it a rest.
Let it aerate a little bit.
Yep.
Now we go to Noah's Hill. And yeah, there we go. You heard that. That gave me a pop. Noah's Hill is a higher proof. It is 114.3 proof. So it's 14% more than. Just hand me your glass there. Give you a splash of this.
Just a splash.
Yep, just a splash. Splish splash, I was taking a bath.
Why did I know you were going to say that?
So, all right, let's put the fucking glasses on. This is what happens when you get old. You can suck a glass's dick. All right, so what's on the back of the bottle? Noah's Mill is a bourbon of extraordinary character and smoothness not found among younger whiskeys. Its superior taste and flavor characteristics are made possible only from using the very finest quality ingredients at the outset, along with the long years and patience necessary for nature to mellow everything to perfection. We bottle this bourbon at a strength that best accommodates its age, and we're sure you'll enjoy if you like no other bourbon. We're sure you'll enjoy it like no other bourbon. Now, this is the batch 2144. It's a small batch, handmade and hand bottled in Kentucky, aged in charred oak barrels.
Let's before we look at any tasting notes, let's go ahead and give it our own.
I don't have a lot of tasting
once
notes
around
on
the
it.
block.
No, I enjoy this nose way better.
Definitely more
caramel,
a little vanilla, perhaps a slight floral, maybe, or citrus.
Not the canned peaches.
No, not the can. Well,
That's
I never
gone.
got that, but.
Wow.
Wow is right. My goodness. I'll tell you what, the nose portends the taste and the body very well. That's very caramel, very vanilla. Perhaps still a hint of citrus.
There's a char to it too.
Very slight. It's not bitter though.
No,
It's very good.
there's a lot of caramel. Wait, would you say more leather? It's tasting more leather than it would be. I don't get tobacco, that's for sure. But I'm not getting like a char. It's just more like a little bit of leather. But
I'm just getting like a peppery, spicy. I'm not really picking up leather.
This I can see why you like this, Bill.
Because of the nose versus the...
But also, you're not always looking for, in your whiskeys, the sweet. You're not looking for that sweetness. You like an aspect of bourbon. It's just like if a bourbon's extra sweet, you're kind of like, or extra caramel or whatever, because those are not probably your favorite flavors in the world. That's not what impresses you. You like a little bit of pepper. You like a little bit of, but you don't want it to be bitter. So this is a balanced bourbon as far as off the neck pour. This is not what I tasted either at the other one, and that's one of the things that's great about a small batch from a distillery like Willett. They're not mass producing, although they get this to consistently to the shelf, but there's an aspect that it changes. And obviously between what we've been drinking the last month and a half at Gervasi and what we're drinking right now are two very different expressions, but they're all good. You know, so what they're doing is pretty exceptional. That's for sure. The Willett Distillery is down there, and maybe we'll take that one opening, that one day we got left when we're down in Kentucky, and head over there and see what we can do when we're there. But now, I believe you actually...
I have some tasting notes here, if you're interested. And this is coming off of the Willett website, but again, they're courtesy of Bill Thomas, Jack Rose Dining Saloon. One of the most lush and rich whiskeys on the market. The nose is walnuts, prunes, and floral. The palate mimics the nose with walnuts, prunes, spices, interweaved with lavender and balanced with the perfect amount of acid that leads you down a path of lingering burnt caramel. So you nailed it with a little bit of burnt there, but my nose and palate detects more caramel rather than walnuts, and there's definitely some citrus that they're calling prunes. But one thing he says here is that the nose or the palate mimics the nose, and I'm in full agreement of that. Though I differ what I detect, I really agree the palate does an excellent job of mimicking the nose.
On this one, I would have to agree completely with what you just said. I like the nose on the Noahs Mill. The caramel is front. Now, you know what? Nope. I'm getting like that. So caramel is definitely, it's taking sugar, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you're basically caramelizing it, which is on the border
to a burn.
Of a burn.
Right.
Okay.
Controlled.
And I think in this case, you've taken the caramel just a little bit further than caramel, but you still have some caramel, but you get that little bit of burnt aspect. And from my standpoint, I love burnt things. I'm a burnt guy.
You're into the smoky, burny things.
Not so much. I like to smoke meat. There's no doubt about it, but not when it comes to there's too much char or too much peat on Scotch. I'm not a fan of too much, but there's a level of burnt. Like my wife would burn toast, and I'm like, give me the fucking toast. I'll put the butter and the peanut butter on a piece of burnt toast, and I'll just eat it. You know, she's out there scraping off all the burnt stuff. It's like, fuck that. It's like, give me the piece of burnt toast.
See, my wife says that I don't like toast. I like warmed bread.
The other thing that I love is when she fucks up a batch of cookies. chocolate chip especially. She burns those and she wants to fucking throw them in the garbage. And I'm like, what? You made the whole 30 batch cookies for me? I'll eat them all at once. It's like, that's what I like. I like it crunchy, crispy, and just burnt enough. Now, we aren't talking about they sit on fire and they're charred. That's not what I'm talking about. But for her, when she takes cookies too far, her classic thing was to do is take the pan and just put it by the garbage. Well, my classic thing was to do is get my mouth in front of the garbage, and she just dumps them in my mouth. That's kind of what it came down
Give you a quart of milk.
She burns cookies, and fucking we could throw a fucking holiday. And she got better and better as we went, and that she burned less and less cookies. But at the same time, you know, that's how I can keep my shape, because she just rarely burns the cookies. But when she does, I'm fucking there.
You help her out.
And it's the same thing with this. This bottle of Noahs Mill, I'm going to fucking claim it, and I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to basically be like,
yep,
stay away.
Yeah, that's some
Let's show everybody this is the Noahs Mill.
Yeah.
You got it
Yep.
right there. There we go.
Yep.
And then we'll hold up that bottle of Rowans Creek.
This is the Rowans Creek.
I have seen these on the shelves in Wisconsin, where I've always gone back. I don't normally see this in Ohio, but I think Noahs Mill and Rowans Creek lately. I picked that Rowans Creek up in Wisconsin, but the Noahs Mill I picked up this week in Ohio, and I think this is their distillate. And now it's probably mixed. Now, originally the Noahs Mill was 15-year aged bourbon. They had an age statement. It no longer does anymore. So I'm sure that what I read is it has between 4 and 20-year bourbon in it. So the 20-year bourbon is coming from Heaven Hill, because they've been when they were independent bottlers, and they were considered in what they were doing and producing their own, they were buying a lot of stuff from Heaven Hill to produce what they were producing. But since they've been distilling now, they're putting their own stuff in, probably mixing it with the Heaven Hill that they had purchased. And, you know, that's one thing that an independent bottler, when you start to understand what they do. So in other words, there's some people who are blenders, and they buy barrels from different places, and then they send it off. They make it, and they mix it, and then they send it off to a bottler to bottle for them. But what Willett was, what they would get these barrels and mix it, and they've got all the mixing tanks, and then they would bottle it while they would contract bottle for other distilleries. So in other words, I'm not going to say names, but some of the larger distilleries need some stuff. They'll send the barrels over, they'll bottle for them. And, you know, so they have that ability. They have they're bottling. So that is a unique position in the distilling world. You know, it's kind of like there's so many different ways to do this. You can mix, you can blend, you can rectify, there's so much you can do. And before probably 2-3 years ago, a lot of it wasn't accepted. Now, independent bottling was accepted to some extent, but Willett is just starting to make a name for themselves, and they've got their own distillery. But before they were their own distillery, they were putting out whatever they were putting out, and it wasn't like it was hugely popular. But once they started distilling for themselves, they became a little bit more popular. So, but we're in the middle of this bourbon boom, and it's exciting.
Sure is.
It's kind of like we're growing up with the bourbon boom together. And as this just keeps going, I keep putting out other podcasts and on other whiskeys, and it just doesn't receive the same reception that it does when we're talking about bourbon. And we love talking about bourbon. So, are we ready to barrel bash? Do you need a little bit more of that?
I'm good.
How the hell did you finish the note? You finished the note. Was that good?
Yeah, that's some primo juice there. I like that.
I would have to agree. When we first neck poured that at Gervasia, it wasn't this good. The neck pour there, they opened it for me, poured it.
It was good, but it wasn't off the chart.
But I felt Noah's Mill was less than Rowans Creek. I liked Rowans Creek. We finished that bottle after a couple weeks, in probably about, I think I probably had about 7 of the pours off that Rowans Creek.
Right.
And they just finished it off. I really enjoyed every pour. But the Noah's Mill, the second week they opened that one, and then I was like, I don't like that nowhere near as much as Rowans Creek. So that went back to the Rowans Creek. And then last weekend, we went back to the Noah's Mill, and there was a lot more seriously, there was butterscotch on it last Sunday. When you remember when you had a pour, there was a good amount of butterscotch. Now, I'm not getting butterscotch off this initial pour. It'll be interesting to see as we let this thing breathe a little bit to see what happens, right?
Sure will be.
All right, so that brings us to the barrel bashing part of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Are you gonna?
The Scotchy Boy barrel bashing. We can give. Do we have a barrel to bash? Boom. Okay, Jeff has. Tiny has it. Boom. There. We rate a whiskey on 4 areas: nose, taste, body, and finish. And for each of those 4 areas, we, meaning Tiny and myself, can give 1, 2, 3, or 4 barrel bashes. And on any one bottle, not on any one category, you can give it a ba-dum-bum, which means you really, really like it. So, without further,
you don't even know what.
Let's just move past that.
That was a butt-up.
Oh, woo! So without further ado, or further butt-ups from you, we will begin our ratings.
Hey, Xavier, I give you a butt-up for tonight. You got one.
I guess I can live with that.
I gave you the butt-up.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back to Rowans Creek, the lower proof. You have a little left in your glass. So let's see what happens after it breathes a little bit. Still no, I'm getting a little bit more caramel. I'm getting a
little more caramel up front,
but I do still get those Del Monte canned peaches.
I'm not getting that at all. I guess my palate just is not. There's very little citrus on that.
And I get the fresh cut sawdust. See, what I'm saying, okay, so think about it. Fresh cut sawdust and peaches, canned peaches, okay? There's not that much of a difference. Think about that.
Well, I guess if you chug a bunch of canned peaches and...
I mean, you've eaten canned peaches, correct?
Yes, yes.
It's not fresh peach. It's not like you're sitting there eating one of those peaches off the peach truck. No, not at all.
It's in syrup. It's in usually back in the day it was heavy syrup. You can buy them in light syrup.
But it's very limited. It's less, and I'm starting this definitely sitting got better.
I would agree that it got better.
And a little bit of syrup.
More so on the taste.
I don't get the peach on the taste,
but the body, the old cut wood surfaces or burnt wood.
I'm gonna say something that I gotta look to see if that was actually. Let's go back right there. Okay, so I'm gonna try this again. So you go first.
All right.
You go first on the nose.
Okay, so which one are we doing? We're doing the
Rowans Creek.
Rowans Creek?
Yes.
Okay, on the nose, I give the nose a 3.
He gives it a 3 on the nose, having a peach smell that I've picked up, and having the wood, that I would agree that it's a 3. It's a very what you're looking for in a nose to get to 3 or 4 is some multiple layer kind of stuff, and it definitely has it. It doesn't have the complexity of a 4, but it definitely has gone from average caramel, you know, just that caramel and butterscotch, whatever. There's a little bit of wood, there's a little vanilla, there's a little bit of peach, so I give it a 3 also.
A little bit of citrus. I don't really identify it as peach, but it's a pleasant nose, but it isn't a knock your socks off nose.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you go first on the taste, because my tasting notes are going to wreck this for you.
Okay.
So you go first.
On the taste, again, you get a little bit of caramel.
Bam.
And bam. But you start to get the cut wood or the cut grain taste to it there, right with the taste. And to me, what little fruit might have been there is all but gone. So the taste, at least on this bottle, and I think the thing to remember, folks, is bottles can vary, just like what Tiny was talking about, the bottles that we had
Don't
out
fucking
there.
make excuses.
But
Tell me what the fuck the taste you think is.
Well, shut up and let me finish. 2.
Boom! And I'm going to tell you why it was a 2. It's a 3 for me. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you why it's a 3 for me. Because 100% the maple syrup comes through.
Is that what I'm tasting?
You are tasting. That took you down. Initially, it had a little peachy, but there is maple syrup there. Now, everybody knows Xavier despises maple syrup. And he's not it's like, I don't know how he exists eating pancakes, but he's not putting maple syrup on it.
That's exactly right.
He's putting butter and powdered sugar on it.
Right. And
whereas like
Smucker's strawberry syrup.
Whereas like putting maple syrup in a bourbon barrel and then pouring it on my pancakes is just almost as good as sex. But for Bill, he would tell you to go fuck yourself, and it's not. So I give the taste a 3. All right. So let's get to the body. What does now? See now it's just so you know, folks. I've completely wrapped this bourbon for Xavier, 100%. But let's just go. I'm going to go to the body first. One last time. I think it's a 3 again. It doesn't quite have the body of just full. Oh my God. It's just that last little sip was just like pouring maple syrup with a little bit of oaky taste in my mouth. All right. But I'm going to give I'm giving the body a 3. And remember, folks, you can have some sort of negative taste in your mouth, but the body is how much the full mouth feel is. It's just like it can get a 3, and you can have some negative aspects to it, but it's still completely filling your mouth. So it's just how much the taste that you can punish the bourbon for the taste, no doubt, but you can't punish the negative taste for the body. That's just my opinion. There's certain things I don't like, but if it's completely filling my mouth full of something I completely hate, then it's still, I'll punish it on the taste, but I won't punish it on the body, because some people actually like the taste I hate.
Or what you're saying is you evaluate the body for the effect as well as the flavor.
Right. It's like the flavors, the taste, the effect. It's like, so if you're just like, you have strychnine in your mouth and that's what it tastes like, it's like you can give it a 0 because it tastes like strychnine. But if it's completely filling your mouth and you have it coming out your nose, it's like, yeah.
Whoa, this is some good strychnine.
Yeah, it's 4. It's a 4. You guys did what you were fucking looking for on the body.
Oh. Well, I'm more of, as you've observed from the other podcasts, I'm kind of a simple-minded drinker, and the body. The body is just not
you're
there.
complex. Don't say you're simple-minded.
No, I'm very hand.
No, you are one-minded. One-minded, but not. It's not. Your one mind is not fucking simple.
Well, I have less moving
parts. Do not
parts.
cut yourself down.
I have less moving parts than your mind does, so
okay,
it's similar.
But
at any rate, no. I'm going to give the taste a 2.
Wait, we're not doing.
I'm sorry, the body a 2. I'm going to give the body a 2. It's more, it starts to lose any aspect of caramel or burnt caramel or whatever, and it's basically, to me, it's a mouthful of burnt oak and wood. There's very little flavor of any kind left for me.
All right, what about the finish? You go first.
The finish, I would give it. It's a medium finish. I think it's actually it's actually not a bad finish. I'm going to give the finish a 3.
And I give it also a 3. Whoa! The barrel broke the stick.
What the heck? You gave it a 2 and a chirp.
No, I gave it, yes. Okay, so I give Rowans Creek a 12 out of 16, and you gave it a 10 out of 16. So that leaves us with the Scotchy Bourbon Boy rating of 11 out of 16.
All right.
And 11 out of 16 is something at the price that they are asking, which is right around $50. Get it. There's no doubt. It is a delicious bourbon. So let's go to one more time. You have nothing left. Do you have anything left?
No, I don't need it. I've got that one tattooed on the inside of my eyelids.
I'm going to go first on each category because we already know that Xavier has his rating on his eyelids. He just winked at me, and it was like, it's like, I'm not sure, but I thought I saw a 16.
Don't give it away.
I'm kidding.
Just because I telegraph it to you, you don't have to.
Dude, I'm so glad you're here. You are back. I love you, brother.
I love it too, brother.
All right, so.
All right, come on. Come on, Tiny.
How the fuck did you get so fucked up over 2 pours?
Well, maybe it was the maker's mark you were pounding down before the podcast started. Yeah. I don't know.
It was chocolate almond. Chocolate fucking almond maker's mark. All right. So, anyways, I think I need a little bit more. I'm just not sure about this. I don't have to drive home. My wife's not here, and
I'd like to, but
no,
I'm not.
No, you're not going to. Yeah, but you know what? It's this alcohol, and this is it right here, right? Or is it this? Let's pour it in the empty one.
What are you doing? Stop.
Just apply it.
You just want me to enhance my tasting.
Yes.
You think you're going to dislodge my presupposed position?
I'm not going to dislodge anything. Xavier. Oh God,
this stuff is good.
All right, so this is a 14.3 proof, more potent. All right, so there's a certain aspect. I love sweetness in bourbon. Xavier isn't looking for sweetness.
I'm all right with
He
it, but
likes
it's not a
wait,
main
it's not going to
criteria.
wreck it.
Yeah.
Did I say wrecked it? It's not going to. Here's the huge
Tiny. Wait a minute. I got to explain.
Okay,
Tiny used to have a problem with alcohol, but now that he's an alcoholic, it's no problem whatsoever.
Exactly. All right, let's. We got that class out of the way. Let's. We got another. It's time.
All right.
We did log still, right? We've done log still.
Yes.
All right. There it is. All right. Our last sponsor.
Do you want me to read that?
No, I got it.
All right.
A watershed moment might be pivotal, but it might also be quiet and fleeting. It could be a monumentous occasion, a cause for celebration, an enormous triumph, or a small daily victory. A watershed moment could be a rekindling or an observance or a gathering. Any opportunity to relish with friends and family. It's whatever you choose to cheers to, who you gathered around, and whatever's worth celebrating. We founded Watershed Distillery on the principles of community in 2010. We wanted to live in, work in, and contribute to the community in which we grew up. We aimed to create spirits that stood apart in quality and character. Along the way, we set out to form a community of our own, one that would gather together to savor, celebrate, and enjoy good spirits and company. We've grown from a tiny little still and two guys in jumpsuits to a dedicated team of over 40 people and two much larger stills. If you're ever in the area, stop by so we can introduce you to our team and pour you some of our award-winning bourbon. Creating it was our watershed moment, but we want to hear about yours. So, Adam Harris, Greg Lehman, and Ann Dimmick are the people down there at Watershed Distillery. They've been super to the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, and I just want to say that it's been wonderful having you guys come on board as a sponsor of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. And what you guys are doing down there, we look forward to all the different expressions that you're going to release, including the single barrels that are available at the gift shop. And currently, the bottled in bond that you just released, the second batch is coming soon. And then also the 4-year finished in apple brandy barrels. It's just spectacular what you're doing. So thanks a lot for being a sponsor. And now we are going to go to the barrel bashing of the Noahs Mill. Now, when I initially, William, or Xavier, when I initially thought that what we were going to come up with, I thought Rowans Creek was going to beat Noahs Mill. I gave it a 12. You gave 10 to Rowans Creek. Let's see what happens with this Noahs Mill.
Fair enough.
All right. Now, where the shit did the hammer go? Fuck.
What did you do with it?
How
We've destroyed our scoring this
is it
method.
Do you see it underneath my chair? Oh, there it is. Oh, you got one too.
There we go.
Hey, let's do this. That's in honor.
On guard.
That's in honor of Charlie Watts.
Yep. You got it.
All right, I'll double bash. All right, so the nose on this is much more Kentucky bourbon than the nose on Rowing Creek. I get caramel, get a little char, a a little butterscotch now that this has sat in my glass for a little bit. I don't get the peaches that I got on the Rowans Creek. So the extra aging that's happening in that bottle takes away some of the, what would you say, surprises. But when it comes to a nose on a bourbon, now the Willett pot still bourbon comes in a pot still. It's a little bit more, there's a little bit more not Jim Beam, but Jack Daniel's Gentleman Jack added into that on that pot still bourbon. And this is that bourbon missing the part I hate about Gentleman Jack. That mellow marshmallow, whatever the fuck they put in Gentleman Jack to make it smoother. It's missing it. It's like, so this is, I'm going to give this nose a fucking 4.
I get more caramel than walnut, but I do get some citrus or fruit, and it's very nice. I give it a 4.
Taste. It's not silky. It's not smooth. It's got a punch to it, which I love in whiskey. 114 proof though, it's definitely silky for 114 proof. It doesn't have too much of a punch. So there is some char, some burnt aspect to it. I give the taste of Noahs Mill on this bottle and this batch. I will say it again. 21-44. I give the taste a 4.
I'd have to agree. And again, one thing that what I found in full agreement with the tasting notes is that the taste is, the nose gives you the taste. They match. So a 4.
So I'll let you go first on the body. I know what mine is, but I'll let you do it.
The body is very full. You get more of the same taste carried on through, perhaps a little bit of a burnt taste, but not extremely bitter or negative. So it's kind of like what Tiny was talking about when sugar's caramelized. That's actually just like on the knife edge of being burned, and that's what you get. But it's very pleasant and it's very full in the body. I have to give it a 4.
My body is a 3 because I always look for that full mouth feel. It's bottom palate, it's top palate, but it doesn't hit the cheeks. So even when I chew it, I chewed the last pour and it just wasn't there in the cheeks. And a 4 bourbon for me has to hit the cheeks. So I give the body a 3. All right, finish.
Finish. The finish is a very nice and extremely smooth finish given the proof of the beverage. It is warm. It is moderately long lasting, and it's very pleasant. So guess what? I follow through with a 4. This is just a very pleasing whiskey here.
So Xavier gives it a 16 out of 16, which I predicted.
You know what my taste palette is.
And then I am going to give the finish a 3. The reason why I give the finish a 3 is it's a medium finish, but what's there at the end is very neutral. What's there to start off is good and whatever, but there's still, the finish goes to the medium, and it's not bitter, it's not sweet, it's kind of, and I just give it a 3. So I give this bourbon a 14 out of 16, which is damn fucking good. And
So that means
Xavier
our average
is 15 out of 16. So we have Noahs Mill would definitely be one of the top bourbons we've tasted here on the Scotchy Bourbon Boys.
And the Noahs Mill leaves you with a very pleasant taste in your mouth. It's just a very pleasurable whiskey to drink.
There's no doubt. And that's off the neck pour. I can't wait to get these sitting a little bit and hit these, because what I saw when we were drinking them over at Javasi, they got better. They got better as they sat. And if this is going to get better, I mean, you're talking, it's definitely, we'll let this sit a couple months and hit it again.
Willett or Willett.
Just remember, folks, we have Xavier back. Hopefully we will be having him on consistently coming up forward. I think that's
looking
going to
forward
happen.
to it.
And then also, it's been a lot of fun tonight.
It has been fun.
We had a couple of good moments there for sure.
Always good.
Remember, www.scotchybourbonboys.com. Go in that right-hand corner, hit that Patreon button to support us. Also, on the website itself, if you're looking for just a T-shirt and a Glencairn from a non-subscription based kind of thing, you can purchase them there. The Scotchy Bourbon Balls, we are getting ready to make a new match. Did I say a new match?
A new match.
A new batch.
A new batch
coming up. They've been started, so click on one of those and we'll send you a dozen Scotchy Bourbon Balls. But also follow us. Make sure when you go to your favorite podcast format that you leave some feedback for us. That helps out immensely if you like what you're hearing. And then also YouTube, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, Instagram, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, Facebook, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, and Twitter at Scotchy the. But with that said, let's just have Jim Morrison take us back out for tonight.
Thank you, folks. Thanks for joining us.
That's right. There we go. Thanks, everybody. Remember, good bourbon equals good friends and good times. Good night, everybody.
Wash away the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Or if we don't find the next whiskey bar, tell ya we must die. Tell ya we must die. Tell ya, I tell ya we must die.
All right. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. Let's get to this. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank
Remember,
you.
once again, good bourbon equals good friends and good times.
Thanks for spending your time.
barrel finished gin, Monks Road. They've got dry gin, Monks Road, and then they've got Monks Road 100 proof 5th District Series bourbon. The first release in our 5th District Series pays homage to Cold Spring Distillery, a historic distillery in southern Nelson County, Kentucky that was located just a stone's throw from the site of our new distillery today. This 6-year-old single barrel bourbon masterfully blends notes of corn, rye, and malted barley for a product that revives the spirit of yesterday.